It's yet another edition of the Sherma Show, and guess what? We have an honorable guest by name Ngwane Liz. The creative director of Magos Mode is in the house today with us. Welcome to the Sherma Show, Liz.
Thank you.
It's really a pleasure to have you here today.
Same here.
I must say you're doing an amazing job with this brand.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about Liz before Magos Mode. So who is Liz?
Okay. Now I wear a lot of shoes, but before I was actually an environmental engineer.
Okay.
And a certified hygiene and safety personnel for oil and gas.
Wow.
So I was doing my internship, and my mom was of late, and she used to have this whole thing about cloth, and I didn't really like doing petroleum, to be honest. My dad was just saying, oh, you have to become this, oh, you have to do this. I wanted to be an artist.
Wow.
And so, I just started how do I match what I like and what I saw my mother loving so much. And that is how we birthed Magos Mode. Mago was the name of my late mom. So I named the brand after her, her mode, Magos Mode.
Oh, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit about Magos Mode, right? What's the inspiration? So you've just said you didn't like engineering and because you loved art, right? And you wanted to actually demonstrate the artistic skill in you. But when you actually look at your brands, you see that there's just something about it, because how do you actually conceptualize maybe the drawings that you have on the dresses and things like that?
Okay, my brand is an everyday ethical luxury brand. We are, like we always say, we are arts dedicated to clothing. It's not just about maybe the painting on clothes, it's everything about the brand. From like what you said, the whole concept behind every piece. Each piece we put out there is a story. We're trying to pass down stories generationally. We believe that we could use clothes as a means to solve a lot of problems. So we're trying to see how these pieces will carry story. For me, I thought that when they carry story, we give them value and it will reduce fast throwaway into the environment. Because now and then you find clothes all littering around. And so I was looking at that means like, okay, how do I do something different? How do I become a designer, a fashion designer, and at the same time, as an environmental engineer, still sit and be an engineer in fashion? So I started doing studies. I'm like, okay, I will not start recycling clothes right away. I will see how to reduce production. I will see how to give meaning to clothing. You should not just wear Magos Mode, you should wear it because it has a story. So every piece, we have piece that we call the women's strength, painting different strength a woman carries. So there's a baby on her back and she's going to the farm, all those things. So we kind of tell different African story where we came from. We hand paint these marks on clothes because we believe that artifacts are not evil. They are part of us. They are our stories. Those marks we find in villages, they are not really evil. Those are things we were told. How do we tell our children the story? How do we keep the stories? So that is how the whole ethicality about Magos Mode came, and about we're looking at it as creating jobs too. Because we talk about sustainability. For us, we think sustainability is creating jobs for people. So as an artist, I then sat, I said, oh, I can do this alone, because the orders became huge for me to paint, and it's hand painting. So I have a small community behind my brand. I have artists I work with, I have weavers I work with, I have makers. I'm not from the Northwest. My best friend is from Bafo. I'm like, okay. So everything about me is always like bringing everybody art, everything I like. How do I bring the hand embroidery, which is an inherited thing from us, and it's also a good practice because hand embroidery is an inherited art from our parents in the Northwest. How do we look at this story and see that we continue this story but in a contemporary manner? So okay, we do this hand weaving stuff like the normal toggle, but in another way,
Wow.
maybe the more colorful in some things. I'll bring down the colors a little bit, but I will still stay with those stories. Especially, I like this ngong thing.
Wow.
It's kind of a musical thing. So I have a piece that we have the hand embroidery on the pocket and the ngong on the shirt, and then this calabash. Talk about weddings and events that happens around us. So that is the community behind Magos
Oh,
Mode.
that's just amazing. So when I look at your brands, right, you actually refer to your designs as an everyday design, right? So, but why was it important for you to go for an everyday kind of mode?
Okay, I think I was looking for a milieu where I could walk into any shop and see a made in Cameroon. When I looked at my wardrobe, I could find different brands. I went to their tags, their labels. I'm like, okay, so this is how this thing works. I haven't gone to a fashion school. Now I want to know why, as an African, how will I stand in the market? I also want to walk into a shop and say, Magos Mode,
Wow.
into a shop in Europe, into a shop in the US, just like we walk into different shops and just shop these other brands. That's why I went into a ready to wear, every ready, but we still have a bridal wear, which is like a very minimalist brand, because for me, less is more.
Wow, that's amazing. So when you're talking, you mentioned the fact that you said that your first design was actually like a red carpet mode where you had to maybe, should I say, copy from another person. So but talk to me about the industry of now where sometimes when you start something like Magos Mode, before you know it, it's everywhere. So how are you going to manage that?
In 2018, when I launched the collection I called Pin Me, this was a collection I said was having to do with heartbreaks and the pinning of a woman with a man, because my things always have to carry a story. So I started by just throwing paint on the cloth. It didn't really mean a lot to me at that time. I was just trying something. I was just playing with colors with my hands and just throwing paint, playing with my fingers, and it gave this beautiful extra art on it, on the different pieces. And
Wow.
people and with the solar was just enormous. That people were just calling, I love it, I love it. Okay, and then I did the first max top, which is like the thing about Magos Mode now. Everyone, yeah, that time people didn't copy. In 2020, yeah, the numbers increased last year. Whoa, just before we got into the show, someone writes to me and say, I'm a designer, I just put this on my status, how much is it? And I'm like, why will you put what is not yours on your status? Just there when I was sitting and waiting for the show, I get that every day, even close people are copying all the stuff. The worst part you can feel is when countries like Nigerians copy. That's what Cameroonians don't know. Yes, Nigerians copy. In 2018, I came out with this danshiki and my max top. In 2022, in 2020, I launched my collection in March on the 6th. Then I lost my dad. So it was because my collections are always like an event. So we couldn't publish the pictures, we
My
published few.
condolences.
And around June, in Nigerian, launched this max tops in another
No.
way. Now what they did was they just take artwork on Instagram, normal just art, normal things, and put on the cloth. But he had to use just celebrities to do it. And he went up, and there was a time my lawyer was like, "Oh, we could get to Nigeria." I'm like, "No, that's our African time." Then I realized my numbers increase.
Oh.
But the funny thing is, why will you wait for a Nigerian to copy me, which I've been doing it 2 years before my numbers will increase? Because they needed that validation. But I still stayed true to what I did, which was my story on my African mask and the rest. So yeah, people copy me every day, but people know the originality. I have pieces that people really try to copy, and I have pieces people have tried and they can't.
Another thing that I really admire about you is how strategic you are when it comes to marketing. Even those that maybe you use to market your brand. Is that something that you had to sit down and think about it, or how did you come about it?
Yep, branding is a key thing for me as a person. Oh, like I said from the start, I wanted a global brand. I was looking at a global market. I've always been looking at a global market, and so I have to study a Magos Mode woman.
Wow.
My brand is actually inspired by a woman. It's true we sell male stuff to just sell male stuff to meet ends, but I have to define who the woman was, and then from day one I define it as a luxury woman. And if it's a luxury brand, he has an idea where this woman will go to, the type of people she meets, her colors, her patterns, what she likes. So I try to put myself into this woman. So there's a whole psychological thing I do before I launch any collection, before I put pieces out, before I put any picture out.
Wow.
You have to really portray that woman.
That's so beautiful. And just talking about it being a luxury brand, right? At the same time, even though you're actually portraying this luxurious lady, right? But at the same time, you actually go about modeling your own brands, right? You love it, you model it, and you also, I read, right, that you also, when you started, you had to use a not so popular photographer to do your shots, to actually take shots of the whole brand. Why was it important that you should use, let me say, a photographer that was not very popular? Because given the way you, I've seen you maybe brand your items, brand the dresses, you discover that you're somebody that actually likes class. But when it came to the photographer, you decided to use somebody in the industry who was not very popular, but I'm sure that person is popular now, right? Because the name is out there now. Yeah, so, but why was it important for you to choose somebody that was not so popular?
Okay, first of all, when I started, I didn't have enough funds or means to do a brand.
Okay.
I didn't have any support from anybody till now. And it was very challenging for me, especially for the fact that I have to live as an engineer. And my father is looking at it as if, what is wrong with this child? And my brother, so the pressure was just too much. But I have an eye for details. And then this guy was in Birmingham. His name is Eric. He has his branding. He has not shot a lot of things. He did just a shot for someone.
Wow.
He did a shot for Davis, Delmezo, and Del was a photographer. All of them were working with Penjo. But his editing caught my attention. I don't want you to edit me like I'm not me. So there was something about him. Like I was keen to the fact that this is who I want. And he gave me the shoot I wanted. Wow. When I got to him, I told him, and he was so humble. I'm like, oh, I want to do this shoot. I have this idea. And he was like, wow, he's interested. And he traveled at the peak of the crisis. He traveled, got to Douala. It was just like God. We went to Maison Arch, and Maison Arch was like, oh, we don't work on Mondays, but you can shoot there. And since when they bring down their place, it gave another aesthetics. It was so, and we had that age collection.
Wow. This is amazing. You know, why people are looking at it like you're defying the odds by doing that, I'm actually looking at it from like an accountant's lens, where I'm like, wow, this girl must be a business guru, right? At that point in time, you don't have a lot of finances, but at the same time, you're making ends meet. I think kudos to you, girl. Honestly, I'm really proud of you. After the break, more with Ngwane Liz. If you're just joining us today on the Sherma Show, we've been in the presence of Ngwane Liz, the creative director behind Magos Mode, an everyday luxury and ethically handmade brand. Liz, so talk to me about maybe gaining other skills when it comes to marketing, because before the break, right, we're just discussing how you're actually so intentional even about the way you market this brand, right? So how important is it for us as maybe young business persons, right, learning other skills when we are doing business?
Okay, I think one thing that we always fail to understand is it's just like every other business, the fashion industry. A lot of us get into it and out of passion, excitement, and we don't look at it as an industry. Is an industry, is a business, and as a business, you have to run it with all the business rules and regulations that governs the business. Gaining other skills I have within the years. Networking, through networking, I've gained skills through accelerator programs, incubator programs. I've gained a lot of skills and through branding. Before then, I think the fact that I studied in my school, I actually had a very good background in entrepreneurship from school. And then over the time, I've gained a lot of knowledge through those programs like I'm talking about. I do all these incubator programs, and I read a lot.
Wow.
I really read as saying, okay, the business aspect of this industry, that's what I'm focusing on, making money. out of my passion.
So when you talked about making money, right? So many people think that it's so difficult to make money as a fashion designer, especially in Cameroon, for instance. Why do you think they're actually facing that challenge?
Um, it's a very challenging industry. I think even our parents, like I will say, people will never see fashion as a serious career move. I'm a weakness, but it depends on the individual. You have to try to see how to break even. Like I had to put in a lot of work to start gaining from it, and because of where I was coming from. Okay, sometimes I walk by and I see my friends from school and like, oh, they will say it as we say in French. Comment major peut être un styliste? Mais je sais pas, why would you, like, I was a major in my class, why would I be a fashion designer? So my friends always had those words though, those, I felt very, it was quite condescending. Why would you think the fashion industry cannot give me money? And this is an industry everyone consumes from. All
Yeah,
of us here well dressed. And
exactly.
I looked at it as a beautiful driver of economic growth. So I think that the first problem is us, the creative. When you're as a creative, you can get very carried away with creativity, and then you forget those aspects as a business.
So, Liz, when you're talking, right, the kind of the quite a number of things that you made mention of, and one of them that actually came to mind to me that really stood out for me was the fact that you always kind of like you're able to tell what you're not very good at, and maybe you outsource it. So, how are you able to kind of like decipher that this is something that you're not good at for you to be able to hand it over to another person, given that you're still starting?
Okay, like I said, as a startup, the first thing you have to know is you do everything. Because it's actually very difficult for people to understand your vision and where you're going to. But you can do everything. In as much as they're assisting you, you just have to let go certain things that you know you're weak at. You must know you're weak at something. Like me, I cannot manage money. Because for me, it's just to live your life, and I will not grow as a business.
Yeah.
I would just go every day like that. And there's a time as every other business. It's true I'm a startup, but I've pushed so much that as every other business, I have to expand. And
Yeah.
if I have to expand, I have to outsource people that will assist me grow.
Oh wow, that's amazing. And now you also mentioned the fact that that you constantly read. And now I'm wondering, when do you have time to do that?
Mm. Apart from Magos Mode now, I have a new baby, which is the No Waste Factory. The No Waste Factory is actually an environmental management
Wow.
organization. So what we do is we reduce textile waste. That has been the initial plan for Magos Mode.
Wow.
In as much as I wanted to do something for my mother, but I wanted to do something that will have the impact. So I've read over the years about sustainability. I've understood how to come up with a whole model for my own organization. And now I can boldly say I'm putting it in place, and I have to keep waiting.
That's amazing. And talking about sustainability, right? I really admire the fact that you're really thinking about sustainability despite the fact that you're already starting. So how did you actually get about thinking sustainability at the beginning? Because it's something that I said that people rarely even think about, given that maybe at the initial stages you don't even have enough money. And sometimes for your brands to be sustainable, you really need to maybe kind of like put in additional kind of finances to ensure that. So what brought about that thought process?
I, I'm an engineer. I studied environmental engineering. I wouldn't have ever done anything that would hinder that. And then I've always dreamed to have a whole factory of processing.
Yeah.
I actually was looking at it as processing. Then I just found myself in this beautiful industry. And then I was like, okay, this industry has so much power, and it has the power to actually change a lot of things. It actually has the power to change at least 17 in the 17 sustainable development goals. It like we have a lot of drivers that we could move as an industry, as a fashion industry. Okay, how will I be different?
So, but do you think that it's like that you might want to maybe kind of like inspire, should this actually act like an inspiration for other designers to join you and while you're actually looking at sustainability? Because I think not so many people actually care about sustainability, but I'm somebody that personally that is really dear to my heart. So seeing you actually work on this, I think it's really good. But now my question will be, how do you get them to understand the importance of sustainability while they're thinking business?
Now, it's actually a very difficult environment where I found myself in Cameroon, where no one pushes you, even the system does not push you. Okay, how do you get other designers? It's quite, like I said, challenging. As me as a person, it's challenging because when I talk about sustainability, it limits me in production. I cannot talk about sustainability and I'm producing a huge quantity. No, we're talking about overproduction and overconsumption, which is like, oh, I'm solving a sustainable development goal. Now, how do you go and tell a designer about that? But one nice thing about it is, well, look at the truth about it is, African designers are inherently sustainable
Wow.
because they produce very limited pieces.
You're doing an amazing job. Keep it up, okay?
Thank you.
More with Ngwane Liz after the break. If you're just joining us today on the Share My Show, we've been in the company of Ngwane Liz, a creative director behind Magos Mode, an everyday luxury and ethical handmade brand. Liz, how has the fashion industry in Cameroon evolved over the past 10 years?
Quite a lot. It has. It has evolved quite a lot. Uh, we have we have a lot of people that consume our designs now back home. At first, it was so difficult for you to really do something and people wash after, and you see a lot of young creatives coming up every day.
Wow.
Every day. So it has evolved in the mentality, the mindset of the consumers. The consumers are the highest people that will help us drive this growth. So wearing Cameroon has become is becoming a reality that people have started wearing Cameroon. People have started accepting to wear theirs, and the creatives too. They are fast changing. It's true that we have one or two things that can delay originality is a problem. Um, we won't grow because every creative people have the potential to create a lot of things. They have that potential, but the fact that you know that this is what my sister's doing and people bought the thing or my brother's doing, they want to buy, they want to do the same thing. That is one thing that can retardate our growth. Another thing I would say, it will be difficult in for the fashion industry to be more than where it is in 5 to 10 years because of the consumer and because of trends. The fact that people don't look at it as a serious industry to invest in.
Okay. Oh.
A lot of investors are scared to invest in the fashion industry like what they're doing to tech now. But this is an industry that, like I say, you consume from it and it's a driver for growth. It can create multiple jobs for people, like every other company. But because people are scared of trends, people haven't seen you as a designer. Why would I come and invest in you when I come and maybe I've not seen how I'll make back my money? So we won't be anywhere because till now we are still trying to fight that barrier, that mindset, to change people's mindset and see us as a business and not just about fashion, not just about glamour, but as a business.
Given all the challenges that we see in the fashion industry today, what will your advice be to young coming designers?
I think I would say people should just stay true to themselves because when you are unique, when you have your brand story, your brand identity, you will stand out.
Wow.
And when you stand out, there are a lot of opportunities apart of selling one outfit out there. When you stand out, a lot of things come into place. And then work on your finishing and fabric sourcing.
Oh, thank you. Work on your finishing.
Because the real people that can buy are very keen to finishing.
Yeah.
Thank
Liz,
you.
you're doing an amazing job. I'm so proud of you. Okay, so please, we have some questions. So you just choose any three and you answer, but please feel free to change
Okay.
if you're not comfortable answering any. So you just read it out.
Oh.
Okay, we took three.
Oh, what will constitute a perfect day for you? So a perfect day for me will be a day that ended with cocktail.
Wow. Okay. Alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
No, I'm actually not an alcoholic, yeah,
Okay.
person. But I should just have a cocktail in a very, very cool place, like very good place, reserve,
Wow.
and it should have my taste. Okay, what are the two things still on your bucket list? Oh, a lot of things, not even two. This year is to complete my my short-term goal is to complete my showroom. It's like a concept store we're working on to complete it. And also I actually want to have a store in the US. I want to have maybe a really good boutique that sells my piece in the US.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
I'm sure you get that.
Thank you. When was the last time you sang for yourself? I can't remember. I can't remember when I sang for myself. I can't remember when. No, I can't remember that.
You've been so busy.
I love dancing, but singing, no.
So, Liz, I think after watching this interview, there'll be a good number of people that might actually want to get some of your brands. So, how can people contact you?
Okay, they could get to us through our social media, Magos Mode, on Facebook, Instagram, and they could get to us through our website, magosmode.com, and they could get to us through our BIM site, and they could get to us through our showroom. Our showroom is actually around Bonamusadi, precisely by Eurojust.
Thank you so much. It was really an honor having you on our platform today.
Thank
you so much. We wish you nothing but the very best in everything that you do. And
Thank
please come back again so that you tell us how this dream is going, because I can't wait.
I will.
Yeah, thank you so much, honestly. Wish
Thank you
you
too.
all the best in everything.
Thank you.
On today's edition of the Sherma Show, we were honored to be in the presence of Ngwane Liz, the creative director behind Magos Mode, an everyday luxury and ethical handmade brand. Please do not forget to subscribe to our social media handles, The Sherma Show. Remember, we are here because you're there. Thank you.